Welcome to the channel. So today, as you probably saw in the description of the title, we're going to be testing, well not testing, we're going to be comparing the ALTRA TIMP 2 with the ALTRA Olympus 4. Now, as you can see by the condition of these shoes, they're a bit muddy, a bit old, a bit worn, but they are still both they're perfect, great shoes, awesome shoes. So I've done about 150 miles in the TIMP and about 250, maybe 300 in the Olympus. And before I go anywhere, they both are awesome. Both are brilliant shoes. They're quite similar, hence the comparison. I had a few people ask me whether they should go for the Olympus or whether they should go for the TIMP. I will tell you my final thoughts at the end, but just for now, they are both awesome shoes. So starting with the TIMP here, basically we have a 29mm Quantic midsole here, a Max Track outer, a sort of really simple but comfortable upper, and that's pretty much it. There's no rock plate, there's no magic secret ingredient or anything. It's a pretty simple shoe that does a great job, and is also dropping mud everywhere, but does a great job on the trails. So, and then with the Olympus, we have basically 33mm of A-bound material, so it's a different midsole. We have a Vibram Mega Grip on the outsole here, and we have a few more overlays and a bit more protection up front because it is just a slightly beefier shoe and is designed for this sort of the longer days. Okay, to try and keep things as simple as possible, because I've already done a lot of reviews on both the TIMP and the Olympus. I'll put links in to all those reviews up here. But basically, to compare the two, the TIMP is lighter. It's about an ounce lighter actually. The Quantic midsole is softer. Now this is pros and cons to this as well, but it's softer. There's just a slight sort of more cushiony feel inside. The grip, in my opinion, actually, this Max Track is actually better than the Vibram in the Olympus. Now some people might disagree, but personally I find it better for two reasons. A, the traction is better. It just seems to work better for me. But probably the biggest bonus is that it doesn't clog up as much mud as the Olympus. For some reason, the tread in the Olympus here, it just clogs up a lot of mud. And the Olympus is a heavy shoe. And the last thing you need with a heavy shoe is a whole load of swooping mud underneath. But it's no biggie, but that's just one of the benefits to the TIMP. So it's lighter, doesn't clog up as much mud. It has a bit more of a nimble sort of feel. You have more ground feel, ground contact, I suppose. But it's still plenty of protection. 29mm, no rock plate, 20 protection there, plenty of protection there. So you feel like you can go long on this one, or just take it out for a quick few sprints, hill sprints, whatever. In fact, that's exactly what I did this morning, hill sprints in this one here. And it does the job really, really well. So with the Olympus, again, extremely comfortable, lovely, really good. But I would say the benefits of the Olympus here is actually the A-bound midsole in here. It seems to be a bit more responsive. There seems to be a bit more energy return. So on roads and pavement and really hard trails, there's more of a bounce back, it comes back. So that's a plus to the Olympus, but there's a bit more height in the toe box here. Not that the TIMP is shallow, but this one here has just got a little bit more height in the toe box, so there's a little bit more room for the toes to sort of, not necessarily splay, but to go up and down. Both of them have great lockdowns, really, really good lockdowns here. They both get really, really secure fits. They're both extremely comfortable. They're both really, really well protected from roots and hard rocks and things. They both do the job brilliantly. There's no need for a rock plate there. In regards to durability, they're both holding up really well. The midsole basically still feels pretty much the same as it did when I first got it. Both of them, you know, with the A-bound of the Olympus, with the Quantic of the TIMP. Yeah, they're just really good quality midsoles. They're both holding up. So as I said, about 150 and about 250 in the Olympus, and they feel good, really, really comfortable. I suppose the only wear and tear that I've already discussed in previous videos is, as you can see, just up here. We've got a few nicks just along here on the outside. I think that's where they've got a bit wet, maybe, and they've creased, and then it's dried, and it's got thin and slightly warm. But to be honest, that is only it. After about nearly 250 miles, they still feel and look pretty good. I suppose the other big thing would be the price. Now, the TIMP 3 is coming out fairly soon. So this one here has dropped down in price. You can probably pick this up for definitely under £100 now, whereas the Olympus is still retaining its quite big pricey price point at about £149, £150. There could be a few deals. So the Olympus is a bit more expensive. Now, in regards to the TIMP, with the TIMP 3 actually coming out, well, it's already out now in America, I think. Will I buy the TIMP 3? Yes, I probably will. Do I need to? No, I probably don't. This one here will still feels like it's got a lot of life, a lot of bounce, a lot of fun, a lot of running still in it. So there's probably no need for me to necessarily buy the new one when it comes out. But knowing me, I'm a bit of a sucker, so I probably will. Although I quite like the upper on this one here, and I know they're changing it to sort of a bit of it looks like a sort of shiny plasticky mesh. I've had no problems with this one. I quite like it, and maybe the new one, the TIMP 3, might be a bit heavier, but don't quote me on that. So I'm still very happy with the TIMP 2. I'm just going to nip outside now, try these ones on again, one on one foot and one on the other foot, and I'll see you outside. So I've got the TIMP and the Olympus on the feet, TIMP and the Olympus, and I think this is probably the best way to compare the two together. Both of them have great protection, both of them have great comfort, they both have great lockdowns. Where they differ is, in my opinion, the TIMP has more of a ground feel. It has a softer feel in the foot, whereas the Olympus has more of a little bit more stack height, but it has that A-bound, as I said before, it's just more responsive. So it's going to work probably better on roads, pavements, hard packed trails, whereas the TIMP might work better on more technical trails because there's definitely more room for the foot to move around in the TIMP. The traction, pretty much the same, although I'll give it to the TIMP. And also I'll give it to the TIMP that the big bonus is that it doesn't clog up as much mud as the Olympus. The Olympus has a tendency to hold on the mud, and as a heavy shoe, as it already is, the last thing you need is a massive lump of mud clogging all up underneath the foot in that sort of thick tread there. Yeah, you can just feel there's that sort of difference, but you know, regardless of everything, they're both extremely comfortable. They both have a perfect amount of protection. They both have high stack heights of 29 and 33. And they both work really well on everything pretty much. But I think the TIMP just has more of a softer ground feel because of that Quantic midsole. It just feels nicer. Plus the overall lockdown of the TIMP is probably more comfortable. It just has a nicer sort of fit over, less sort of plastic overlays. So there's not as much to sort of your foot. As you can see there, the wear and tear of that Olympus is slightly wear on the side there. But yeah, they just sort of, I don't know, I suppose the TIMP feels a bit more like the Superior, but like a really beefed up sort of, the Superior on steroids, the TIMP, whereas the Olympus is, I guess it's just a harder, more of a responsive ride, but very, very soft still. So yeah, so that's it. So side by side, very kind of hard to tell the difference, but the difference just lies in with that little bit more of a responsiveness of the Olympus, whereas the TIMP is a little bit softer and slightly more ground feel. But just, it's not much in it. You know, they are pretty much 50-50. If I had to take one on a desert island that had some trails, then it would be the TIMP, just because of its slightly more lightweight nature. It's a little bit more nimble, therefore you can use it pretty much, you know, for a lot of fast stuff as well. Doesn't clog up as much mud, and it just has that nice sort of ground feel. But plus, I'm just a huge fan of the Quantic midsole. I love it. I think the Quantic midsole is the best one. I'm a huge fan of the Torin. The stuff they have in there, the Torin 4.5 Plush, is awesome. So yeah, anyway, listen, I hope that helps. I hope that sort of gives you a rough idea of a good comparison between the TIMP and the Olympus. So that's it for me outdoors. I'll see you back inside in 1 second. That's it for the review. Well, not review, but that's it for the comparison. Two brilliant shoes. You can't go wrong with either, but hope what I said helped. And thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do click that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell, because it's really helping me and the channel grow. I've been going for just over 4 months now, and I passed 500. So thank you so much to everyone. And yeah, I'm really grateful and really happy that content is of value and good, and people are liking it. So I will keep on doing it. Yeah, thanks very much. See you soon.